Welcome to Give Yourself Grace. I'm your host, Grace Perry, and I am so thrilled you're here. As a content creator and coach, I've built a six-figure business to help women step into their power and share their stories with the world. My mission is to empower you to embrace your unique journey and every season this life has to offer. If you crave entertainment, guidance, and tools to transform your reality, you have come to the right place. So come with me on this adventure and truly give yourself the grace that you deserve. Let's dive into the show. Welcome back to Give Yourself Grace. This is my second official episode, and I'm just so grateful that you are here listening. Thank you for taking the time out of your very busy day to just sit and listen, or just I don't even know where you are right now. Maybe you're in the grocery store, maybe you're in the shower, like literally just taking time out of your day to listen to this podcast. It means the absolute world. It's been a little crazy, I'm not gonna lie. The last literally a few months since I released my first episode, I've just been in a state of overwhelm, if I'm being honest, and just constantly trying to make it all work, right? Like as an entrepreneur, I own my own business. It's called Grace Perry Productions, and I specialize in video production, photography, and social media management. Now, a little bit about my business story. I actually started back in Massachusetts in 2019, shortly after I graduated college from UMass Amherst. Basically, I dove into my business while always hustling with side hustles. So I bartended. I actually worked in corporate. I did worked in startups. I had a consulting contract for over 5 years. And honestly, I did a lot of things just to make ends meet. And it wasn't until last August, so August of 2023, that I decided, enough's enough. I need to go all in on my business. And so that's exactly what I did. And it's, been a little over a year since then. And I have just been thrust into this world of business where I have been just growing, which means a lot of the times I have to take on projects when they come. And I love and I'm so grateful for the opportunity and to work with such amazing clients. But it can be a lot and it can be overwhelming. And so over the last 3 months since I released this podcast, I've honestly just been trying to make ends meet and trying to just say yes to projects that excite me, but also take time for myself to slow down and take care of myself. And so for today's episode, a little kind of tangent there, but a lot of things that have been coming up for me, one has been protect your peace. And so I want to share that with you today because there have been so many moments throughout my entrepreneur journey, especially in this last year, that have really rocked my foundation and my relationships. And so I wanted to talk about what I'm calling the process of protecting your peace. And so I'm laughing because I'm so type A. I'm like, okay, we need to create a process for you. But I hope that today you can take away something from this. And a lot of this might be redundant to what you've already heard, but sometimes it's nice just to hear it again and to be reminded, especially if you're going through a really challenging season, of the importance of protecting your peace. And I think this is something that's really not talked a lot about, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship or corporate America. Like, how do you actually protect your peace and really protect your mental health throughout the journey of business? And oftentimes what I have found is business is a direct correlation to self-improvement and self-development. So over the last few years, honestly, especially this year alone, I have had to face a lot of things about myself and really force myself to examine the relationships that I have. And it's really led me to a very peaceful journey. And not gonna lie, there are things that happen over the course of life and different journeys that you'll go through where you will have to be reminded of how to protect your peace again. And so I want to dive into this concept today, especially because this new year is quickly approaching. 2025 is going to be here before we know it. And so this protect your peace process is something that you can use within your relationships to strive for a really more peaceful new year. And so step one in this process is to define what peace looks like in your relationships. So welcome to my Protect Your Peace TED Talk. Just like you create goals for the new year, I want you to envision what an ideal peaceful relationship looks like for you. Now, you may have peaceful relationships in your life, so I want you to reflect back on those. And maybe this is the first time you've ever actually thought about it. And that is completely okay too, because for me, that is exactly what happened. I had to really ask myself, what does peace look like in my relationships? And honestly, for I would say 27 years, I'm 28, so a very long time, I have tried so hard to keep relationships with friends that I've had forever, honestly. Like wearing friendships as like this sort of badge of honor and keeping them for a really long time, and which is such a beautiful thing, don't get me wrong, but nostalgia can be really blinding. And honestly, once I started to protect my peace, it made me reflect on these relationships and ask myself if I actually wanted to continue them, if they were helping me grow, were they helping me evolve and transform positively, or were they just holding me back into a past version of myself that I no longer resonated with? And so for me, when I asked myself this, I found that peace for me is feeling calm, balanced, loved, and safe with others. It's about being able to express myself without fear or judgment or conflict. It's about setting boundaries that honor who you are and what you need. And for healthy relationships, that peace just comes naturally because there's a mutual respect and the communication tends to just flow really easily. When that peace is disrupted, it often feels like chaos, mentally, emotionally, and sometimes even physically. And I know that term physically can be really triggering. So I just want to say, if at any point you feel triggered during this conversation, please take a moment to pause. And if you need to switch to another episode, I completely understand. This really is just a conversation about what peace looks like for you and how we can sort of protect it. So have you ever felt, this is a big question, but have you ever felt drained after being around someone or anxious about how they'll react to something that you say? That's a sign that your peace is being compromised. And I know it seems super obvious, but sometimes when we're in those relationships and we love a person so much, it can be so hard to see that until you step outside of that bubble. Now in business, especially when it comes to corporate America and just entrepreneurship in general, everything changes when you start to protect your peace and have those aligned actions. And so I want to warn you, especially something that I was never told. When I started this business, I noticed a change in my relationships. And I honestly really wasn't prepared for this. In fact, I felt really blindsided by these changes, specifically in my friendships. And they always say like people in many ways are mirrors to you, right? So you reflect what someone might not have or want for themselves. So this reflection as people being mirrors can be both positive and negative. So like I can be a mirror to someone and inspire them, even through this podcast, to go after their hopes and dreams. But I can also in that same reflection allow someone to feel a certain type of jealousy or a negative emotion that they are not doing those things, those big dreams for themselves. So it can be kind of like a double-edged sword, especially when it comes to social media and this like hyper competitive comparison digital world. So this year was really hard because I honestly had a deep friendship with someone who did not give me the same support that I had given her. And not that all relationships are like tit for tat, but you start to notice an imbalance. And when it's really big and you can feel it, it makes you question everything. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but if you can, it typically is like an intuitive gut feeling that's just so hurtful, right? It's like, you know, this person loves you, but it's not the same relationship that maybe it once was. And I had a feeling that she was talking about me behind my back. And when I asked her to be a part of a program that I was curating, she got really, really nasty with me. It also made me realize that it was a friendship I no longer wanted to continue. And adult friendships are hard. It is so difficult out here because you really don't know each other well. And like, especially if you move to another state, like I moved from Massachusetts to Colorado, like I had a lot of, college friends that I had known for 4 years, childhood friends that I had known for over 20. When you have, especially childhood friends, like you know each other a lot more because you spend a lot more time together, right? At college or school or like in after school activities, like whatever it might be, right? You're like forced to hang out and spend a lot of time together. And so when it comes to like childhood friends and college friends, like you see who they are versus adult friends. It's a lot more work to get to know people that deeply. I always joke, I'm like, I wish there was a survey that I could give out to new friends and be like, are you crazy? Check yes or no. Because honestly, it takes so much time to uncover like whether or not like who that person is. It took me 2 years to uncover that someone I considered a best friend wasn't actually a close friend at all. But I learned a lot along the way, and that's what I want to share with you guys today. Honestly, this relationship that I had, it reminded me that protecting my peace also involves not trusting people so easily. So step 2 in my Protect Your Peace program is to identify peace disruptors. Now, those could be friends, family, or coworkers that are disrupting your peace. And a lot of these kind of peace disruptors are actively working against you, right? So they slowly kind of chip away at your sense of calm and balance. Now, peace disruptors can be people, but they also can be like actual actions. Typically, some of these like peace disruptors could be a lack of boundaries. So people expecting you to be available, or maybe they demand more of your time than you're willing to give, or emotional manipulation or gaslighting. When someone twists your words, your actions, like making you question your reality or feeling guilty for things that aren't your fault. Toxic communication patterns, right? They're giving you constant criticism, or they're being passive aggressive, or maybe stonewalling you that can make you feel unheard or frustrated. Maybe they're one-sided efforts when you're really the only one putting in that emotional work, and it can feel exhausting. Those relationships should be reciprocal. It should not just be one person carrying all of that emotional weight. Or it could be control and possessiveness. Like this is someone who might be trying to control your time, your choices, or who you spend your time with. All of these sort of peace disruptors, these are just a few of the many, but these are some that I've found and some that I've like noticed in my relationships over time. And it's so important to recognize them for what they are. When they go unchecked, when you live in that bubble, they can really erode your peace and your like sense of self-worth, and also stealing your joy. It's so important to recognize them early and to take action. And this can be so difficult, especially when it's a family member. When we are young, we're taught that family comes first and to choose these people over and over and over again because we're related to them. But the reality is, when you are an adult, you get to choose who you spend your time with. And if I had to make this so clear to my family members, that having a relationship with me as an adult is a privilege and a luxury, and that can easily be taken away. And I don't mean to be harsh, but if you have a family member who's not respecting you or your time, especially if you have told them and have communicated your boundaries, you do not have to hang out with them. Okay? It is as simple as that. And let me be the permission slip and the reminder for you to recognize if a relationship with a family member is no longer serving you. It is more than okay to love that person from afar. Let's talk about how to protect your peace. Here are some steps. I've kind of outlined this to really like safeguard your energy and your mental well-being in your relationships. And I just want to preface this, like, I am a recovering people pleaser. And my whole life I've been told to be that good girl and to, be polite, and maybe you can resonate with that. And it's taken me a long time, and I'm working on this every day. So when it comes to protecting your peace, this is a lifelong journey. It's not just something that, you get good at instantly. It's something that takes effort because you're essentially unlearning the habits that have been formed for your whole life. And maybe this is the first time you've actually thought about it, which is totally okay too. Here are some ways that you can really protect your peace. Number 1, set and communicate boundaries. Boundaries are essential for protecting your peace. And you know this, right? So it's like whether making time for yourself or limiting how often you engage in certain conversations, like boundaries are literally everything. Now, I want you to be super clear about your boundaries and do not feel guilty about communicating what you need. So perfect example of this, it's election season. And without going too deep into politics, my mom and I have very different political beliefs, right? So I have set a very, very stern boundary with my mother because I just cannot engage in those conversations with her. It's not really like and I can debate politics and I love to talk about these things, but it's really hard to talk to her about these things because we just have such polar opposite views, which is totally okay, right? Like, freedom of speech and freedom to express yourself. It's really hard sometimes to have such different points of view, and it oftentimes can get get heated. So I've set a boundary with my mother of we cannot talk about politics because it's just not conductive to our relationship. Like our relationship is really good otherwise, especially when it comes to business relationships. Some boundaries in business can be your working hours, right? So like maybe you only work from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, or maybe it's only 3 days a week because you have kids at home. Like whatever that might be, I want you to get super clear about what your boundaries are in your personal and your business relationships. So when it comes to business relationships, right? So like as an entrepreneur, I've had to set and communicate boundaries like time and time again. Honestly, it sounds like once a week at this point, if I'm being like super transparent with you guys. It comes up all the time. So I've had to practice boundary setting a lot. And honestly, it's been one of the most difficult things that I've had to do. Like, for example, I had a celebrity client last year. She was my highest paying social media management client to date. I was so freaking excited to work with this person. After the first month, I started to notice that they weren't reading my emails. I don't even think they read the contract that I had sent. And there was like no sense of boundaries where I'd get messages at all hours of the night asking me to do things. And of course, like I am in customer service, like I provide content creation and social media management, but it became so much more than that. And the boundaries were crossed time and time again. Trust me when I say I communicated those boundaries to her. And even after creating a PowerPoint, okay, where my type A ladies at, even after creating a PowerPoint, okay, to discuss my boundaries, it was still something that was not respected. And it was really difficult working with that person. Even on Mother's Day, when I was visiting my stepmom at the time, who was passing of cancer, I was getting messages from this person trying to control my time. And it was just that like light bulb moment where I realized that this was no longer a relationship that was serving me. And after giving my 2 weeks notice, I just realized that like no amount of money was worth it and that I had to protect my peace. And so wherever you are right now, whether you're driving, grocery store, like I want you to say this inwardly to yourself, say it proud and out loud. No amount of money is worth it to steal my peace. No amount of money is worth it to steal my peace. Now say it with me. I will always protect my peace. I will always protect my peace. I say this to myself often. I literally have to say it and remind myself of this when these challenges arise because it is so easy to forget this and to allow people to take advantage of you. Like as strong and as confident as I might seem on the outside, like inwardly, I have struggles and I have insecurities and challenges. And so I really have to remind myself of these things. And I think it's important for you to remember too. Okay, so another way to protect your peace is through mindful communication. Now, I know that sounds so boring, but it is so important to learn how to communicate. And I am convinced that most people just genuinely do not know how to do this and we're not taught how to communicate. I am not the perfect communicator, but I've really just tried to pause, take a moment, breathe, and then respond thoughtfully. So that would involve, right, if I get a text message or maybe in the heat of the moment when a situation is occurring, instead of feeling like I need to react and respond right away, I will often sleep on it, right? Or I'll take a few hours just to like dissect the message and the communication that's coming to me to then respond. Instead of, being so immediate, right? Our society is so like now, and so quick and fast paced. It's like someone texts you and they expect an immediate response. Like, no, that might be how society expects me to, but I am choosing actively to practice that mindful communication and to respond thoughtfully. Another way that I've done this is meditation and like taking time each day, even from 5 to 10 minutes. And there are so many amazing meditation apps and like Spotify playlists that you can listen to that will remind you of these things. And taking that time to pause and just ask yourself, like, how am I doing? right? And like what thoughts are controlling my emotions right now? And so having that mindful communication practice also involves a healing practice that has really helped me. So whether that's meditation, working out, going for walks, yoga, like you know what works best for you. As much as I would say practice mindful communication, I would say practice those healing modalities as well, because it both coordinate and both will help you protect your peace. Embracing detachment is my next one. Sometimes we take on the emotions or problems of others, especially if you're an empath, especially if you have been doing this your entire life, especially if you're the oldest sister. Hello, me. I have constantly been a therapist for my family, it sometimes feels like. It's important to remember that not everything is yours to fix. Practice detaching yourself from unnecessary drama or negativity. You can care without carrying the weight of someone else's emotions. Let me say that one more time. You can care without carrying the weight of someone else's emotions. You're going to hear me say, love them from afar. I truly believe that when we love people and we lead with love and empathy and we see these situations for what they are, oftentimes I would argue maybe 80% of the times when it comes to, challenges or problems with others, it has everything to do with them and very little to do with you. And when I've started to see people for who they are and, that embracing that detachment of like loving them from afar, it has helped me really understand that person better and like recognize that sometimes it's not about me. Most of the times it's not. It's what they're going through or situations that they're in, or maybe they're unhappy with their current life or, family life, whatever that might be. It's embracing that detachment and seeing the situation for what it is. Prioritizing yourself, right? Self-care. Your peace is so deeply connected to how well you take care of yourself. So I ask you this, like, how are you doing? Are you making the time for activities that recharge you? Whether that's meditation, journaling, reading, or just being out in nature, whatever that looks like for you, like how are you practicing self-care? And when you're centered and when you're at peace with yourself, like how do you feel, right? And what activities did you do to get you to that moment of peace? When you're at that centered and peaceful state, like you are so much better you're better equipped to maintain peace within your relationships and to practice that detachment or mindful communication, right? Like all of those things connect together to help you be a better human and also protect your peace. And lead with love, of course, right? There's this awesome book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And it's by Mark Manson. It's a great book. It's actually pretty funny. In one of the chapters, it talks about this older woman, and this has resonated with me for so many years. And I think about this example often, right? So there's this older woman who's at a grocery store and she has this coupon that is expired. Okay. And she approaches the counter and essentially the coupon is declined because it's expired, right? And she gets so frustrated to the point where she's yelling at the grocery store manager and just going off, right? Because of this expired coupon. Instead of being frustrated with that woman, like, yes, you can be frustrated with her and you can see the situation for like how ridiculous it is. It's almost like when you lead with love and empathy, you just see people differently. Like, if anything, it's like, how sad is it that this woman has nothing else to give a fuck about, that she is so emotionally charged by this one coupon, right? Like, that's actually really sad, right? Like, I have so many other things going on in my life that like a coupon that's expired doesn't upset me that much, right? Like, I just move on from it because I have a million other things to give a fuck about. And maybe you resonate with that too. Like when you lead with love and empathy, you can see things for what they are and you can recognize what's happening for people, right? And also just like know when it's time to walk away. Sometimes the best way to protect your peace is to walk away from relationships that are constantly draining you. And it's really freaking hard, but if someone is unwilling to respect your boundaries, communicate effectively, or just show mutual care, it might be time to reevaluate that relationship. And letting go can be the most powerful form of self-love. Here are some just practical tips that you can apply right now to protect your peace. Number one, take inventory of your energy. how do you feel when you spend time with people, right? Like, do they uplift you? Do they leave you feeling drained? Pay attention to how those interactions impact your mood and your energy levels. Number 2, using I statements when you're expressing your needs. Instead of saying like, oh, you never listen to me, try like, I feel unheard when, or like I feel, or I see, or I wish, I want, to express how you feel, using I statements to allow people to understand like what you actually need and want. Instead of putting it on them, putting it on you to communicate really does help. And it's helped me a lot when it comes to my relationships. Number 3, do not feel guilty for prioritizing yourself. That is what this entire podcast really is about. Your peace just matters just as much as anyone else's. And it's not selfish, it's necessary. Okay, let me repeat that for the women in the back. Your peace matters just as much as anyone else's. It's not selfish, it's necessary. Do not feel guilty for prioritizing yourself and your needs. As women, I think we really need to hear this and be reminded of this often. And last but not least, number 4, surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries and bring positive energy into your life. Relationships should feel like a safe harbor, not a battlefield. Surround yourself with people who just make you feel good. That for me, like in order to be successful, especially as an entrepreneur, I have had to put myself in rooms where I did not know anyone. Networking groups. I've gone to so many events where I just have had to immerse myself to meet new people and really like meet people who get it, who are in the same situation as me, who have been through things that I've been through, who know how to protect their peace at far more advanced levels. Surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries and bring positive energy into your life. I'll say it time and time again. It is so important and so necessary to protect your peace. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope that this Protect Your Peace process has helped you, inspired you, motivated you, and just like made you really think about your relationships, because it is such a lifelong practice, but it's one of the most important things you can do for yourself. Now remember, it starts from within. Once you can cultivate peace, you can carry it into all of your relationships. And that's what I hope for you. I am sending you so much love and hope you have an amazing day. If this episode resonated with you, please let me know. I would love to hear it. And I hope you protect your peace. Thank you so much for listening. Your support means everything to me. If you found this episode inspiring, please share it on your social media and tag me. I'd love to thank you personally. And as always, sending you love and rooting for you. See you in the next episode.